Hey, what's up, political soul food world? We're back for another podcast. Yes, welcome back, welcome back. Today we're talking about the attack on transgender rights, in particular, the ban for military service. So, what I'm gonna do is throw on some little intro music so y'all can warm up, and I'm gonna start sending out alerts, let people know that we're up in here. In the meantime, I'm gonna get ready. All right, sit tight for about a minute and a half. We're gonna get this party started. All right, so let's do this. Yo, my boy Micah's in the house. What's good, bro? What's good, bro? All right, so we're talking about the transgender rights issue here. So I don't know if you were up on that right now, but let's catch up on that. So we found out today that the Supreme Court um, pretty much co-signed Trump's request to bar transgender people, at least the majority of them, from serving in the military while the battle is ongoing. Basically, the Trump administration wanted to reverse Barack Obama's 2016 decision to let transgender service people do their thing, help out and protect and serve this country. But this is an issue for others. I want to talk about that. What do you think about transgender rights? Transgender rights are human rights, civil rights, and I think um, that if a person can show that they could um, carry out the expectations of a particular job, then they should be given the opportunity to do their thing, right? So, like, why are we going to stop someone from participating in a particular activity which they can prove they could do and execute well? Like, why would we stop that? Based on what? Some belief system, some idea that it's wrong? What's good with that? It makes no sense that some people would would go out the way to to force other human beings into the corner and not even protect and serve. Right? We're not really talking about here people saying, "Oh, you have to acknowledge me and let me into your world or give me what you have." No, we're talking about people who are saying, "Listen, I want to be who I want to be. Just let me do that. Let me be who I want to be in American society." But people are not hearing that. Transgender are trying to be human beings just like everyone else, and in fact go a step further and be great American citizens. So my boy Mike says, I think it's due to not being what you were originally. The whole LGBT community is very belittled by high authoritative power. Yo, thanks for dropping that. Thanks for dropping that. And, the issue with that is, you know, I'm not even going to pin all this only on Trump. It's on people who actually support this, right? He's representing a whole bunch of other people. And those people are the ones who are making this an issue by voting for someone who will stop transgender from participating fully as American citizens. So, let me just hit up YouTube. Let me hit up Facebook real fast. So yeah, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy that we're not talking about saying let someone take a position or give someone a responsibility that they cannot mentally or physically carry out. You get what I'm saying? Now maybe we can have a discussion on that at another time. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about if people are able to follow up on their demands and responsibilities. In fact, what this ban is going to do is get a lot of servicemen and women and transgender people all messed up because they're going to be like, listen, this is you're kicking out people who have already served this country. Like, why would you do that? I mean, seriously, like, why would you do that? Is it just to serve a particular purpose, like for religious reasons? But hey, we have freedom of speech in this country, and the First Amendment doesn't legally support any religion. So, what's the concern here? This is where we get into issues of bigotry. We want to know why people bring up the word bigotry because you have American citizens saying another person is different in a particular way and we don't like that way, and so we're not going to let them fully participate in society even though they could help us. How are you going to make a country great like that? How are you going to make a country great like that? I mean, you know how many people I had to work with who may have different styles, different fashions, and I actually enjoyed working with them, and who were able to help me. I'm a musician, I'm a composer, I'm a producer, and I want to work with people who can contribute to the project. So this is like really, really, really distressing for our society, or at least for some of us, like myself and others, who are just fed up that certain ideologies still have this political influence. And so if you ever want to know why voting matters, this is an example here. Okay, this is an example because those who get out there and get in those situations, get in those places of power, get to have certain agendas fulfilled. And note that the Supreme Court backed Trump's ban. Not, I wouldn't say entirely in every respect, but it allowed the ban to be put forth. And basically, this is overturning ruling in the lower courts, because the lower courts are like, we're not having this. And now we're in a situation where soldiers who served in Iraq or in Syria somewhere might have to go home. So there's a little compromise, I guess, where like those who are already out in the open might be cool, but for other people who might, come out the closet or whatever as they want to say, might have to go. Or there's an exception I hear that if you're transgender and if you just go by, the standard sex, then you might get a pass. You know, for a group of people who say we need small government, it's really surprising to see them using the federal government to get inside people's bedrooms, get inside people's sexualities and gender. It's like, really? Like, what happened to we need a government that minds its business? They'll make sure the government cannot enter the boardroom where financial deals are being made that are actually impacting people, jerking people out of their economic opportunities. Fine. But like, seriously, you're gonna ban the government from, you want to deregulate the markets, keep the government from getting into the markets, but you want the government to get inside people's bedrooms and closets and drawers. Come on, y'all. That's kind of hypocritical. That's the straight hypocritical. And so I want all my transgender citizens out here and abroad, that you have supporters, and based on the legal apparatus, and that's already installed in the Constitution, this is going to get shot down. It should get shot down. However, you can't take it for granted, because again, it's about who is occupying the levers and the spaces of power. Who gets to pull a lever? And so this is why, people, we got to get out there and vote, because when you vote, you can make some change. When you don't vote, you become subjected to someone else's change. And we see now that some people's changes don't have our best interests in mind. And that's the real deal. That's just a fact of the matter. And I wish I could snap my finger and say, okay, we're going to have a perfect society, but I can't do that, and no one's going to be able to do that at this moment. So please note that when we step back, when we retrench, you don't just leave open space unoccupied. Others come and occupy that space. Now I understand that you got your own thing going on in life, but you got to understand that part of your responsibility is to make sure that the political paradigm is right for you and your brothers and sisters as American citizens. Because if you stand by and let stuff happen with the transgender community just go to go to their hideout, let something happen to our women, okay, who are being mistreated, and if the women stand out of other constituencies issues, then little by little we'll be eaten up. So we got to stand together. And this transgender issue is something we got to stand together. And I got to speak on it because I've gotten into too many debates on this issue. Why? Goes back to the shade of masculinity ideology that people are subscribing to. I mean, many people are not into letting someone else choose their own gender or be their own whoever they want to be. So, and what they do is they default into this binary rule of life, which is you have men are supposed to protect the woman, you have woman's supposed to cook. And people still think that way. I'm serious. I mean, not too long ago, a guy overheard a conversation between me and my niece, who is ambitious, intelligent, entrepreneur, all that stuff. And he heard us talk about her desires, her goals, her future. And when she left, this guy tapped me and asked me, says, what's she's doing trying to own a business and do this and the third? Shouldn't she learn how to cook or something? I'm like, sir, I actually seen the guy a lot. I do talk to him every once in a while. I was like, that's my niece, first of all, so just in case. But that didn't slow him down. He wanted to let me know, to let my niece know that it is more fitting for her to learn how to cook. Now, I'm thinking maybe just learn how to cook and do other things because it is a good skill to learn how to cook. I can step up my game with cooking too. But he's talking about learn how to cook as if that is her ultimate purpose. That is her talent. Okay. So people still think this today in 2018, 2019. Yes, 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 yes. So we got to step up. Keep your eyes on this issue. This is why it's important to vote. And obviously, part of the Supreme Court's decision is influenced by a lack of voting because once a president gets in, they have the authority to appoint justices as the position slots open up. All right, so I don't want to get into like legal rights and stuff like that. We don't have to get too complicated about that, but I just wanted you to know that this is happening if you didn't already know. Um, and so it's kind of sad. And oh, you know what? I'll just go there. So one other thing I would add is, some people might say, well, why are you blaming Trump and Republicans? This is a conservative issue. In fact, I read here from the New York Times, the vote to lift two injunctions blocking the policy issued by lower courts was 5-4, with the Supreme Court's five conservative, I said it, well, I read it, five conservative members in the majority. So this issue falls on ideological lines. So, the Republican Party said, wow, liberals get to call us bigots and everything, but look at what you're doing. You're basically just stopping another group of human beings from serving and protecting this country because you don't like how they define their sexuality or understand their gender or how they relate to this world naturally. You don't like that, so now they don't get to be fully citizen. Ain't that messed up? That's messed up. That is messed up. Let me just share one more thing here, which is just as important here. So I was like, all right, let me just let me step outside of my box because I know I'm in my head a lot. So let me pull up. I got this article, and I'll share it here. Let's see here. It's called what it means to be transgender. Let me read some of this for us right now. When a child is born, a doctor says it's a boy or it's a girl. Assigning someone's sex is based on biology, chromosomes, anatomy, and hormones. But a person's gender identity, the inner sense of being male, female, or both, doesn't always match their biology. Transgender people say they were assigned a sex that isn't true to who they are. You hear that? Many people have assumptions about what it means to be transgender, but it isn't about surgery or sexual orientation or even how someone dresses. It's how they feel inside. Okay, we have this First Amendment where people argue those who are against transgender identities basically say the First Amendment to allow me to speak my mind and be who I want to be. People go to that First Amendment to say just because you think what I'm saying is hate speech is not my fault. I get to say what I want to say. I get to think about whatever I want to think about. I get to be who I want to be. Remember, in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if this is how I want to spend my life and use my liberty, and this is what makes me happy, then listen, leave me alone. Well, Okay, fair enough. If you want all that, why you're taking away those same rights from someone else? Hmm? Why is that? Why is that? So I think we have a question up here on YouTube. Let's see. So shouldn't we be asking? Let's see this here. I want to try to pull up this question here on YouTube. So shouldn't we be asking why this is occurring in nature as the percentage over time has increased drastically? You want to flesh that out for me? Shouldn't we ask why is this occurring naturally in nature increasingly? So yeah, I'm not sure what the spin is on that one, but clarify, and I would love to engage. It sounds like an interesting question we should take on. I mean, just to go a step deeper into this issue, people have a certain philosophy of ontology of being, and a lot of this comes from religious readings, and for others, it comes from I would call a pseudoscientific interpretation of animal behavior and roles. But biology does not offer any kind of axiom or guidebook on determining someone's sexuality and gender. And in fact, science leaves that open to the individuals in the particular species. Okay, so this is where science stands, and some people want to read science and make observations, but the observations are usually incomplete, and if not, it is skewed to target one example to make a case. But biology does not support the traditional masculinity reading that some people have of science, of the world, of animal behavior. So I don't think that anyone who is in support of transgender banning has any support in science, definitely in religion, but that's just about it. So we got this one more comment here. All right, I'm gonna catch you up in a second, Mel. Let me just read this one comment real fast here. You have every right to exist and seek life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, but you do not have a right to any special dispensation. So, I mean, who determines? First, what do you mean by dispensation? You mean disposition or orientation? Who determines how a person can identify themselves? Who determines what group can be there, can form their own identity? Okay, if we can have certain associations based on activities and based on certain belief systems, why can't the transgender community have their identity? So basically, Mel, we are talking about transgender rights, and in particular reflecting on the Supreme Court's support of Trump's ban of transgender rights in the military. Okay, they're basically they're actually blocking the lower court's decisions to they're blocking the lower courts that block Trump's policy. So that's what's going on right now. And so, in other words, very soon, transgender people could be discharged. All right. So this is an overturning of Obama's support and policy to allow transgender to, hey, rock and roll, do your thing. As long as you're fulfilling your job, as long as you're completing your missions in the military, as long as you are capable of the requirements, then we're good to go. I'm not gonna be putting my nose in your bedroom. I'm not gonna tell you how you need to look, how you need to identify, how you need to dress. As long as you are able to do your job and you do your job well, and you are serving and protecting this country, then you're good. Others feel like, I don't care if you're serving and protecting this country. If you're going to have a certain identity, then you can't be a part of this. The question that needs to be studied is why the Y chromosome is disappearing. Well, maybe it's a question that needs to be studied. Fair enough. But I would ask, would that even matter right now in terms of a group of people who have proven to be capable of serving this country will no longer be able to to carry out in that capacity because of someone's belief. Someone's belief. So Vincera says it depends. Well, I would love to hear how it depends, because usually what we say is, if you can do the job and you do your job well, then you get the job. The and if you're honest, if you're not committing treason, it's hard to see how somebody, we this is where we start getting discrimination, because you're basically throwing in a factor that does not pertain to the job requirement itself, other than a requirement of identity. This is how we get discrimination. If a person cannot explain why or how a certain identity will stop someone from doing their job, then we got a problem. They've already proven to do so. We've had success. We've had commandos who are doing their job. We have people who were in the Iraq wars and in Syria. We have people who've been serving for 8 years successfully, who are one of the top soldiers. We have transgender and in the highest heights of military skill. That's already been done and said. In fact, the military itself are saying, wait, what's going on here? You're taking away people who I trust and who I serve with. I've been serving this guy. This person saved my life. Like, what are you doing? These people have tremendous skills, just like any one of us, and some more than others. Why? Doesn't make any sense. There's no statistic. There's no statistic that is showing. In fact, there are statistics showing that transgender are quite successful at their jobs and that they are much needed. Their skills are indispensable. And in fact, pulling them out is going to begin to cause chaos. And it's going to make this country weak. Maybe that's the objective. I don't know. Maybe the objective is to continue to destabilize this country by using, these different, ideological preferences. Maybe it is. And if that's the case, I get it. But right now, stopping someone who has a different gender identity from doing their job, that the identity itself does not impact. This is why the words bigotry and discrimination keeps coming back, because of issues like this. Issues that fly in the face of the First Amendment. This is what the issue is. Flying in the face of the First Amendment, then that we got some hypocrisy happening here. Well, listen, guys. We're going to call it a night. Thanks for tuning in to Political Soul Food. I go live daily to talk about issues, to hash them out with you. We may not see eye to eye on these issues, but I think that if we critically talk about these things more and more, we can expand our common ground and truly make America great by moving forward rather than backwards. Thanks again for tuning in. Enjoy your night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace and love. I'm going to X out here on IG first. IG fam. Peace out. Facebook fam. Peace out. And YouTube, thanks for showing love. I enjoyed the interaction. Hope to see you here tomorrow.